Are those my headphones? Yeah, and your CD too. I told you to stay out of my room, Dumbo. Please, I've been living in there, pencil legs.
The smiles on the set of Moesha were hiding a bitter war. For 6 seasons, fans saw a close-knit group of friends and family, but behind the cameras, a secret feud was tearing the show apart. That wasn't the only secret they kept. Years later, the cast is finally revealing the truth behind the backstage fights, personal tragedies, and the shocking kidnapping cliffhanger that left millions of fans asking what really happened. The family we all wanted. In the middle of the 1990s, a new voice appeared on television. It was the voice of a teenager writing in her diary, sharing her thoughts about life, love, and family. That voice belonged to Moesha Mitchell, and her show, simply called Moesha, would become a cultural landmark. From 1996 to 2001, families gathered to watch the life of an upper-middle-class black family in the beautiful Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. The show was a huge hit for the UPN network, and it was more than just a sitcom. It was a mirror for millions of young black teens who had rarely seen themselves represented so authentically on screen. The show was led by a true superstar. Brandy Norwood was already a music sensation with a hit album that had sold millions of copies before she ever stepped onto the Moesha set. Her fame brought a massive audience to the show, but it was her relatable performance as Moesha that kept them watching. Moesha was a smart, headstrong teenager dealing with everyday problems. She had a strict but loving father, Frank Mitchell, who sold Saturn cars. He was played by the talented William Allen Young. Her new stepmother, Dee, was also her high school's vice principal, a role brought to life by the incredible Cheryl Lee Ralph. Rounding out the family was Moesha's annoying but lovable little brother, Miles, played by Marcus T. Paulk. And no 90s sitcom was complete without a crew of best friends. Moesha had the boy-crazy and hilarious Kim Parker, played by Countess Vaughn, and the loyal Niecy Jackson, played by Shar Jackson. Their hangout spot was a local diner called The Den, run by the wise and funny Andell Wilkerson, played by Yvette Wilson. And of course, there was the forever hungry neighbor, Hakeem Campbell, played by Lamont Bentley, who was always at the Mitchell house. Together, this cast created a world that felt real and warm. The creators of the show, like Ralph Farquhar, wanted to tell a story about a black girl coming of age, a story that families could watch together. They succeeded. The show was praised for tackling serious issues that other family sitcoms avoided, like teen pregnancy, race relations, and drug use, all while keeping its heart and humor. Behind the scenes, the cast seemed to have a bond that was just as strong as the one on screen. William Allen Young shared a story about his first time meeting Brandy on the studio lot. He said he saw a young woman running toward him out of the darkness of the soundstage. When she came into the light, it was Brandy. She jumped into his arms, and her first word to him was "Daddy." From that moment, their connection was set, and it created the foundation for the father-daughter relationship that fans loved. This story, and others like it, helped build an image of a perfect TV family, both on and off the camera. But what most fans never figured out was that this perfect image was an illusion. Behind the warm kitchen scenes and heartfelt diary entries, a storm of jealousy, creative battles, and personal drama was brewing that would change the show and its cast forever. The show's commitment to authentic representation was clear in every detail. Moesha's signature braids were not just a hairstyle, they were a statement. Cheryl Lee Ralph said that when she first saw Brandy in all her braided glory, she felt that everything she had gone through as a black female entertainer had been worth it. For Brandy herself, the choice was also personal. After a bad perm damaged her hair before her career took off, she started wearing braids, and it became a style that spoke to who she truly was. The show was set in a real black neighborhood, Leimert Park, and Moesha attended Crenshaw High, not some fictional school across town. These choices mattered. They showed a side of Black life that was rarely seen on television, one that was grounded, proud, and relatable. This dedication to authenticity is what made the show a home for so many viewers. But at home, things are not always as they seem, and the secrets kept behind closed doors were about to come to light. The secret war between best friends. On television, Moesha and Kim were the definition of best friends. Their bond was the heart of the show's early seasons, a perfect mix of funny, loyal, and sometimes complicated friendship that every teenager could understand. They navigated crushes, school drama, and family rules together. But the friendship that millions of fans adored on screen was hiding a difficult and painful reality. Off-screen, Brandy Norwood and Countess Vaughn were locked in a secret war. The tension between the two young stars became one of Hollywood's most talked-about secrets. For years, there were only rumors, but in 1998, Brandy broke her silence in a famous interview with Vibe magazine. She revealed that the on-set relationship was far from friendly. She explained that she felt Countess was jealous of her position as the star of the show. The most shocking claim was when Brandy said Countess had called her a terrible name to her face in front of a lot of people. According to Brandy, Countess told her that she was the reason the show was successful. This conflict was rooted in a classic Hollywood power struggle. Brandy was the face of the show and a global music icon, which gave her a huge amount of influence. Countess, while in a supporting role, was a comedic powerhouse. Her portrayal of Kim was so funny and popular that many people did see her as a breakout star. This created a difficult situation where the supporting actress's popularity began to feel like a threat to the lead. Fredro Starr, who played Moesha's boyfriend Q, later confirmed that there was definitely friction on the set. He said that Countess was hilarious and that the show needed her, so she had a right to be frustrated if she felt she was not getting the credit she deserved. The tension grew so strong that something had to change. After the fourth season in 1999, Countess Vaughn left Moesha. But she did not just disappear. The network knew how talented she was and gave her a show of her own. She went on to star in the spin-off The Parkers alongside comedian Monique. The show was a huge success and ran for 5 seasons. Giving Countess her own show was a brilliant business move. It solved the conflict on the Moesha set by separating the two stars, and it allowed the network to keep a beloved character and a talented actress on the air. For nearly 20 years, the feud remained a defining part of the show's legacy. Then, in 2015, something unexpected happened. Countess Vaughn took to Instagram and wrote a long, heartfelt public apology to Brandy. She wrote that she was proud of Brandy and apologized for any negative things she had ever said or done. She said she wanted the world to see that she had grown and that her apology came from a very human place. Brandy responded publicly, saying her heart was touched by the message. She said she would love to start a new friendship and even suggested they could work together again. For fans, it seemed like a beautiful moment of healing and forgiveness. However, some observers felt the public nature of the apology was complicated. By making the apology on social media for everyone to see, Countess put Brandy in a difficult position. If Brandy had ignored it or responded coldly, she would have looked like the bad guy. Accepting it was the only real option from a public relations standpoint, no matter how she truly felt. Later reports suggested that the reconciliation was not as simple as it appeared, with some claiming that the two never truly reconnected in private. The storyline that broke the show. As Moesha moved into its later seasons, the show began to change. The lighthearted stories of high school crushes and family disagreements started to give way to darker, more dramatic plots. The biggest change of all came in the 5th season with the arrival of a new character named Dorian Long, played by Brandy's real-life brother, Ray. At first, Dorian was introduced as Moesha and Miles's cousin, who was always getting into trouble. But the writers had a shocking twist planned that would change the Mitchell family forever. In a controversial episode called Secrets and Lies, the family learned that Dorian was not their cousin at all. He was actually Frank Mitchell's biological son, born from an affair Frank had during his first marriage. This revelation turned the world of Moesha upside down. Frank, the dependable and moral father figure, was now a man who had kept a massive secret from his family for years. The news shattered the family's foundation and sent Moesha into a tailspin, causing her to move out of the family home and into a college dorm. While the writers may have thought this twist would bring exciting new drama to the show, it was deeply unpopular with some of the most important people on set. Cheryl Lee Ralph and William Allen Young, who played Dee and Frank, were strongly against the storyline. They felt that Moesha had a special responsibility to its audience. It was one of the few shows on television that portrayed a strong, positive, and stable black family. They believed that turning Frank into a cheater destroyed the very thing that made the show so important. It took away the positive image that they had all worked so hard to build. Cheryl Lee Ralph felt so strongly about this that she decided she could no longer be a part of the show. For her, it was a matter of principle. She once said that one of the greatest lessons she ever learned was knowing when it is time to leave the room. She felt the show was ruining the family it had created, and she did not want to be there to watch it happen. She and William Allen Young both begged the producers to change the storyline, but their pleas were ignored. Cheryl Lee Ralph's role was reduced in the final season, with her character Dee taking a job in Jamaica before she left the show for good. Many fans never knew the real reason for Dee's departure, but it was a sign of a major power shift happening behind the scenes. There were reports that the push for the Dorian storyline and for Ray J to have a bigger role came from Brandy and her mother, Sonia Norwood, who was also a producer on the show. This new direction reportedly led to one of the show's original creators, Vita Spears, being fired because she disagreed with the changes. This internal conflict marked a turning point. The show's original vision, which focused on positive family values and relatable teen struggles, was being replaced by melodrama. For many fans, and for some of the cast, this was the moment the show lost its way. The family that everyone had fallen in love with had been broken, both on screen and off. Life after the show. When Moesha ended in 2001, the lives of its cast members went in many different directions, filled with incredible highs, heartbreaking lows, and the constant glare of the public eye. But before looking at where they are now, it is impossible to tell their story without first honoring the two beloved actors who were taken far too soon. Lamont Bentley, who played the funny and loyal Hakeem, was a fan favorite. After Moesha, he continued to act, appearing in the movie The Wash and even playing the legendary rapper Tupac Shakur in a TV movie. Tragically, on January 19, 2005, Lamont Bentley died in a car accident at the young age of 31. He was driving alone when his car went off the highway. He was survived by his two daughters. His death was a devastating loss for his family, friends, and the fans who grew up watching him on screen. Just a few years later, the Moesha family would face another tragedy. Yvette Wilson, who brought so much warmth and humor to the role of Andelle, passed away on June 14, 2012, at the age of 48. She had been battling cervical cancer and kidney disease. After her time on Moesha, she continued to play Andelle on the spin-off The Parkers until it ended in 2004. Her friend had even started a website to help raise money for her medical bills, showing how much she was loved. Upon her passing, her co-star Shar Jackson expressed her heartbreak on social media, showing the deep bond the cast shared. The loss of both Lamont and Yvette left a permanent shadow over the show's happy memories. For the surviving cast members, life after the show has been a mix of incredible success and public challenges. Cheryl Lee Ralph, who left the show on a matter of principle, has had an inspiring and triumphant career. She continued to work in television, film, and on Broadway. Then, decades after her time as Dee Mitchell, she found a new level of stardom on the hit show Abbott Elementary. For her role as the wise kindergarten teacher, Barbara Howard, she won a Primetime Emmy Award, becoming the first black woman in 35 years to win in her category. It was a powerful moment that celebrated her incredible talent and resilience. Brandy Norwood has continued to be a major force in the entertainment industry. She released several more successful albums and went on world tours. She also continued to act with major roles in the show The Game and the musical Chicago on Broadway. In a full-circle moment, she returned to a character that made her a different kind of star, reprising her role as Cinderella in the Disney movie Descendants: The Rise of Red. Through it all, Brandy has been open about her personal struggles with depression and PTSD, showing a vulnerability that has connected her even more deeply with her fans. Shar Jackson's life took a very public turn when her fiancé, Kevin Federline, left her for pop superstar Britney Spears while Shar was pregnant with their second child. She handled the difficult situation with grace, focusing on being a mother to her 4 children. She later found a new platform on reality television, even winning the show Celebrity Rap Superstar. The younger cast members also had to navigate life after childhood fame. Marcus T. Paulk, who played Miles, continued to act in movies like Roll Bounce. He faced some legal troubles, but has since focused on new business ventures, including a modeling agency. He has spoken about how much he looked up to his TV big brother, Lamont Bentley, saying Lamont helped save him from some of the dangers young actors face in Hollywood. And then there is Ray J. After his controversial introduction to Moesha, he reinvented himself as a reality TV king and an entrepreneur. From For the Love of Ray J to Love and Hip Hop, his life and relationships have been on full display, often causing drama that has sometimes created tension with his own family, including his sister Brandy. Each cast member's journey shows that life after a hit show is never simple, and the spotlight can bring both triumphs and tribulations. The cliffhanger that never ended. After 6 seasons and 127 episodes, Moesha came to an end in 2001. But it did not end with a heartfelt goodbye or a satisfying conclusion. Instead, it ended with one of the most frustrating and unresolved cliffhangers in television history, leaving fans with questions that have remained unanswered for over 2 decades. The show was abruptly canceled by the UPN network, and the main reason was falling ratings. The dramatic storylines of the 5th season, especially the one involving Dorian, had changed the show's tone. While some viewers adjusted, many others tuned out, and the show's popularity declined. The light, funny sitcom that families had loved had become something darker and more like a soap opera, and the network decided it was time to pull the plug. Because the cancellation was so sudden, the writers were not able to create a proper finale. The last episode left fans staring at their screens in disbelief with 2 massive, shocking plot twists. First, Moesha's little brother, Miles, was kidnapped by a rival of Dorian's after a business deal went wrong. Second, a positive pregnancy test was found in the trash can in Moesha's dorm room. The show ended without revealing whose it was. It could have been Moesha's, her best friend Niecy's, or their roommate Alicia's. The network had a plan, or at least they said they did. The idea was to resolve the pregnancy mystery on the spin-off show, The Parkers. But for reasons that have never been made clear, that never happened. The Parkers ran for years, but it never mentioned the pregnancy test or what happened to Miles. The story was simply dropped, leaving the cast and the audience hanging forever. This unresolved ending has haunted the show's legacy. The cast members themselves have expressed their deep disappointment with how things were left. In a 2017 reunion on the talk show The Real, the entire cast gathered for the first time in 16 years. It was an emotional moment, and when asked about a possible reboot, every single one of them said yes. Brandy explained that they needed a reboot because the show ended on a cliffhanger. She said that Miles was kidnapped, and they still do not know who was pregnant. Cheryl Lee Ralph joked that poor Miles was still in a trunk on the 405 freeway. Brandy has even publicly apologized to the fans for the terrible ending. She said she feels bad because so many fans are mad about it, and she agrees that it is not the right way to end a show that had been on the air for 6 years. She also admitted that even the cast has no idea what was supposed to happen, leaving them just as in the dark as the viewers. In a strange way, the cliffhanger has kept Moesha alive. The constant questions and the shared frustration have created a unique bond between the fans and the cast. They are all part of a club, waiting for an answer they may never get. The chaotic ending was a perfect reflection of the show's troubled later years. It had lost its way, and its finale showed just how far it had strayed from the happy, wholesome family sitcom it started out as. The show that began with a girl writing in her diary ended with a kidnapping and a mystery that may never be solved, leaving its legacy forever incomplete.